today's lesson is our last lesson in topic 13, and it's on volume. So volume, my friends, is not the same thing as any of the other things we have learned about, Darius. We've learned about perimeter, we've learned about area, we've learned about surface area, but today, volume is what's inside, the amount of space that's inside. Now, it can be liquid or it can be a solid, but today we're going to focus on a formula that's going to help you. So how do you find the volume of a prism? We'll either work with a rectangular prism, like in this picture, or today we may even work with a cube. Those are the only two shapes we'll have to worry about. Volume measures the amount of space that's inside of a solid figure, and we measure it in cubic units. Cubic means that little teeny 3. So if you have meters, you're going to have a little tiny 3 because we're going to multiply 3 things together. That's why we call them units cube or cubic units. Now if I said, how many of those cubic units are in this picture? You could count them up, right? You could. Even though you can't see all of them, I bet that all of you could figure out exactly how many are there. Right? All right. So a cubic unit is just one of these little cubes. It's 1 by 1. So if we look at that image, we know just one of them is 1 inch by 1 inch. Volume means inside of the whole entire object. So if these cubic units are shown, we could certainly count how many cubes are inside that rectangular prism. So we could start with our bottom layer or our base layer. There are how many cubes in each row? Aiden? 4. And how many rows do we have?
5.
So, good. There's 5 cubes in each row. Well, we could say 4 cubes in each row or 5 cubes in each row, depending on which direction you're looking at. So, 5 cubes in a row. They're saying 4 rows. So, now we know 5 times 4 is 20. Right. There's 20. So, even though we can't see all those in our final picture, we know there's 20 on the bottom layer. Now, if we stack a second on top of it, we could add another 20 to it. Or another way to do that is to multiply what we already had by 2. We're doubling it. So ultimately, what we did to find the volume of this shape is we took the length times the height times the width. 5 times 4 times 2. Isn't that easier than counting every single little cube? Don't you think you'll probably be more accurate if you do it using the formula versus counting every one? Now, counting every one's pretty easy. We learned that in kindergarten. But oftentimes we make mistakes when we count, especially if we can't see everything we're counting. So let's take a look at another picture. Now you can certainly count, 1 by 1 count, how many cubes are in this. Or you can use the formula that I taught you. What do you think we got there for volume? Brendan says, he's thinking. Now, didn't we just mention that there's a much easier way, Brendan, than counting every single cube in there? Natasha? Can you tell me how you found that? Length times width times height. What's the length, Natasha? What's the width? And what's the height? 3 times 3 times 3 is what? Dathan? 27 cubic units. 27 of them. All right, we did not record that one, so we're going to show you quickly what Natasha did. She took 6 times 4, which is 24, multiplied it times 9 for a final answer of 216. Don't forget to put a little 3 by your yards or units. All right, I don't know if we might have one. Oh, this one has no picture. For this one, they figured the base for you. So basically, they figured this part right here for you already. You don't even have to multiply those two numbers together. They did it for you. And then they gave you the height. Easier. Cole, tell me what you did.
I multiplied 26 times 4.
And got?
104.
104 what? Meters cubed. Because here's 2 here and 1 there. So good work. Okay. I would like you guys to open up the notebook software, and I would like you to attempt to make me on screen 1 a rectangular prism and on screen 2 a cube. You can reuse these shapes, so don't erase them. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that, to put in the following measurements. Please find the volume of that rectangular prism. Natasha, I'm so proud of you. Natasha had her hand up in 1.7 seconds. The reason she had her hand up in 1.7 seconds is because she noticed right away that she could do this problem in her head just using mental math. Sarah? 2,100. Tell me what you did.
Oh, wait. 210.
Oh, well, that's different. Which one do you want to give as your answer, as your final answer? The second one. Tell me what you did.
I took 10 times 3.
Which is?
30.
Okay.
And then I took it times 7. And I just crossed out the 0 and then just did 7 times 3 and I got 2,210
Okay.
inches. And then the little cube.
Beautiful. Check yourself. Now, I chose numbers that purposely could be easily done in their head. Now, the rest of these won't be quite so easy. The next shape, move on to your cube. You can certainly erase what we did with the rectangular prism, but don't erase your shape because we will use it again. Now, the cube, I'm only going to label one side. 1. Why do you think that is? Aiden?
Because a cube is just has all equal sides.
That's right. Okay, here we go. Please find the volume of that cube. If you have it in your head that the answer is 27, you're very, very wrong. My class said 27, and they thought that they were right. But remember, volume means length times width times height. Let's go with Caden. What did you do, Caden? First, nine times 9 is 81. Then, seven, 2, 9. Yards. Yep, cubed. 729 yards cubed is correct. How many of you got that one right? Wonderful. How many of you thought it was 27? Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Let's go back to our rectangular prism. I am going to label this one with some different measurements. 12 meters long, 8 meters high, and 5 meters wide. Please find the volume of this rectangular prism. America?
480 meters.
Tell me what you started with.
I started with 5 times 12, which is 60.
Okay, 5 times 12. 5 times 12 is 60. And then multiplied it times, which you could do in your head, right? And your final answer is 480 what?
Meters.
Cubed. We're doing volume. Units times units times units again. Excellent. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. That's what I'm here for. Yes?
I got 490.
Do you know that 8 times 6 is 48? Okay. Did you choose 2 others? Did you start with 8 and 5? Okay. So 40 times 12, 0, 8. Placeholder 0, 4. 0 times 1 is 0. Did you put 1? Oh, you didn't leave your work on your board? Oh, don't erase it until we're done, because that way, otherwise you don't know what you did wrong. Like, you know you got 490, but you don't know how you did that. So next time, just leave it so that we can figure out what you did wrong. Okay? All right, we're moving on. This one is a cube, and it is going to be 20 inches on one side. Go ahead, write some stuff down if you feel like you need to. That's totally okay. For those of you who are calculating in your little brains, that's awesome. Sam, tell me what you did.
Well, I did a trick that I learned back when I was younger.
Okay.
You take off all the zeros from the 20s.
Okay, so what did you multiply first?
So I did 2 times 2.
Well, you did 20 times 20, but ignored the zeros.
Yeah.
Okay, and got?
40. No, 4.
You wouldn't get 40. What would you get?
I would get.
You would get 400. Okay, now we've used 2 of them, but now we have to multiply by another 20. So now what would you get?
I would get 8,000.
Absolutely. 8,000 inches cubed. How many of you got that? Excellent. Good work. Good work. All right, should we kick it up a notch and make it a little bit harder? A little bit. I don't want to stretch your brains too much on a Friday, my goodness. Okay, volume of this rectangular prism. Darius, Alan, they both had their hands up in 2.4 seconds. How? I'm guessing that they used mental math. Huh. It is completely and totally fine if you are choosing to write this out and do your calculations that way. I'm perfectly fine with that. However, I bet when Darius tells you what he did, you'll go, oh, geez, why did I waste my time? Darius? Okay, tell me what you did. 100. Excellent. I love your explanation. He ignored the zeros and then put them back in right here. Yards cubed. Yards cubed. How many of you who did it the long way wish that you would have done it Darius's way?